We're very lucky, we're very privileged to be able to do this kind of work. And I think that even if the future, if more people find themselves passing along information that skirts the edge of journalism, they will be led to professionalize themselves. Because I think they will understand as they go on that there is something to be said for the trained eye, there is a lot to be said for the experienced eye. They will also understand that this is a very blessed occupation when you can do it for a living, because you can have a role in the lives of others. There has been a lot of attention in recent weeks to, and there should be, Jim Foley and Steve Sotloff, who I'm afraid I didn't know either of them. And of course they were brutally executed in the most savage manner possible. And one of the things that you confront when you go out and cover wars or really other stories on the other side of the world is that we are still in a relatively small proportion of the world where news is considered to be an independent enterprise. In most other countries in the world, including obviously the largest country in the world, it is accepted that news is it's a function of the state. It is accepted that citizens will know what the state feels that they need to know. And the new technologies we're talking about can sometimes circumvent that, but not very successfully and often not for long. I think we've seen the results of that. One of the many crimes, I think, that were first and last, of course, was the murder of Jim Foley and Steve Sotloff. But I think there was also a crime committed towards the whole concept of journalism and reporting for the world. Because I think it is not understood in most parts of the world that journalism, as we do it here in this country and in a number of countries in Western Europe and in Australia and New Zealand, but the list is already beginning to run out a little there. It is not understood in China. It's not understood certainly in Russia at the moment. That news is independent, that it is supposed to be the voice of the people searching for answers, and not just another function of the government. And I think, therefore, that's why you hear overseas American reporters are often derided as functionaries of the CIA, and British reporters are often derided as functionaries of MI6, because the question is asked, as I remember coming back from covering the siege of Sarajevo, and I was explaining to my Uncle Sheldon about how there was no water, there was no heat, there was no food, and we were often shot at by snipers, and there was constant artillery fire, and he said to me, "Why the hell would you want to do that?" And it is often very difficult to answer the question of others, particularly in an environment where that, particularly in a country where that hasn't been the tradition. Why would we do that? Well, we do it because we believe it's important to know. We do it because we believe at some point people equipped with information will make more intelligent, better, wiser, more reflective, more informed, more humane decisions. We can't guarantee that, but we would hope so. And those men died doing that kind of work. And people who go to work in journalism should know. And when I say go to work in journalism, this includes tweeting from the local county meeting. You should understand that the responsibility you have is great, but the opportunity that you have is also great. Because once you begin to inform people in a circle larger than yourselves, you begin to take on the responsibility of information, which is to be fair, which is to be objective, which is to have, we hope, a wise and experienced eye. So I don't know where the future of this is going, but I do believe there's going to be a place, even in changing technologies, for the primacy and the importance of people connecting, telling stories, sharing a bit of themselves. And I think that will result in new and more interesting work in platforms that haven't yet been invented. But I like to think that there's going to be a line that you can trace back to the very first stories that were told around a campfire.